Hi everyone, this is Rashid Khan and you are watching Innovative English Learning. Today we are going to talk about another very interesting topic in creative writing, that is letter. Although the use of letter is not that common nowadays because of mobile phone and text messages, but still we use letters in formal communication, especially when we communicate in organization, etc., or organization to organization or customer to organization. So the communication normally takes place through letters, so it is still very important. Now, what is a letter? A letter is actually, according to Collins Dictionary, a letter is a written or printed communication or mean of communication or written or printed message. So first of all, it is a written or printed message that is addressed to a person or an organization, and normally we address that message to a person or an organization, and it is often enclosed in an envelope and sent by post. So we put it in an envelope and sent it by post. So that is what we call a letter. So it is a written message or written mean of communication, and that is addressed to a person, maybe an organization. Now we have two types of letter. Letter is divided into formal, informal letter, or business and personal letter. Now why do we call it formal letter? Because we follow a specific format in such letters. Next, we use formal language. So because of these features we call it formal letter. Why do we call it business letter? Because it is normally addressed to an organization or from an organization to a customer. So that is why we call it business letter, and it is about business issues, something that is related to business, something dealing related thing. So that is why we call it business letter. Now why do we call it informal letter? Because we do not follow any specific format. Any standard or recognized format is not followed. Similarly, we use informal or conversational language. So that is why we call it informal letter. Next, we call it personal letter because it is normally about personal issues, personal matters, and it is addressed to someone who is personally known to us. So that is why we call it personal letter. Now there are some features of formal and informal letter. So features of formal letter are, they are short, concise, and to the point. Such letters are short because the businessmen, they do not have enough time to read stories or lengthy passages. So we put our message in concise and to the point words. So it is short, concise, and to the point. Next, it is perfect in language. We do not make any grammatical or spelling related mistakes in such letters. So it is perfect in language. Next, it is clear and courteous. Clear means that we do not use idiomatic expression, we do not use idioms or any such phrases or words which have some double meaning. So we use clear words. Courteous, we use formal language. It is courteous. Next, we use formal language in such letters. So formal language means that we normally use passive voice, we may use formal words, we avoid contraction, abbreviation, short forms, etc. Next, we follow a specific formal format. There are different formats for letter writing internationally, like we have Fullblock and semi-block that we'll discuss here in this video, and we have certain formats in every organization. Every organization has developed its own format for letters, so we follow such specific formats. Next, we carefully choose our vocabulary. So careful choice of vocabulary. The vocabulary is carefully chosen. So we avoid informal words or short forms or idiomatic expressions, etc. That is why, because of these features, we call it formal letter. Next, okay, informal or personal letter, we call it informal as I told you that we do not follow any specific format and we use conversational language, and we call it personal letter because it is about personal issues and it is addressed to someone who is personally known to us. So that is the basic feature of personal letter. Next, we do not follow any specific format. We can write it in any way, in our own way. So there is no standard format for such letters. Next, we use colloquial or conversational language, day-to-day language, the language that we use with our friends or family members, like hi there, hi buddy, etc. So such type of language is used in personal or informal letter. Next, we use abbreviation and contraction in such letters, like shortened form, I have instead of I've instead of I have, or am instead of am not, etc. So we can use abbreviation and short forms, while in formal letter we avoid such abbreviation in shortened form. Next, the tone or the style of such letter is informal. Like we use the style or the tone that we normally have with our friends or relatives. So such type of tone is used in written communication or written message of informal or personal letter as well. Next, we have importance of letter. That why is letter still important for us despite of mobile phone and text messages and voice messages or video calls. Still, why do we need letters? So letter is still very much important because of these reasons. First, it is formal and sophisticated way of communication. When we make face-to-face conversation with someone within an organization, etc., so that is considered something informal. So letter is a formal way to communicate with an organization or from an organization with a customer, etc. Next, it provides a permanent written record. It can be used as an official record in an organization or for someone's personal use. So it provides a permanent or written record, while in face-to-face conversation we may not have that facility, that we cannot make it a record. Next, it shows the person or organization responsible. Because when we send letters, we sign it, we have our signatures on it. So it shows the person who sends that information in a letter. So it provides that evidence about someone that who is responsible for the information, whether the organization or a person is responsible for that, and it also specifies the receiver that whom it is addressed to. Next, it is convenient, because in face-to-face conversation we may not feel convenient, we may not be free, we may have some depression or sadness, or we may be under our emotions. So we have chances of mistakes, while in written communication or letters we can conveniently read or write our letters whenever we are free or whenever we are like feeling convenient. Next, it allows the sender as well as the receiver to think about and research the topic. Remember, writing a letter is a complicated task, so we can research the topic, we can think about it for longer time, and we can carefully write our message. While in face-to-face conversation we may not have that opportunity, because it is very much immediate. Like immediately we have to respond to someone's message in face-to-face conversation, so we may make mistakes, we may miscommunicate with the person, while in letter we can research the topic and we can carefully write our message. Next, it allows us to reread and review complicated information. For example, if we do not understand something in a letter, so we have the opportunity to reread it and review it, and we understand the complicated information. While in oral communication or face-to-face communication, we may not have that opportunity to listen to someone or to ask the person to say something again, etc. So we may miss some information there. Next, it can be used as an evidence in the court. So we can use a letter as an evidence against someone in the court or in somewhere else. Next, it shows one's communication skills. So a letter shows one efficiency in a language. When we write to an organization, or for example, if we are writing for job application, so the organization can judge us through our letter, our communication skills or efficiency in that language through our letter. So it also provides the organization something about our communication efficiency. So that is what we call the importance of letter. Because of these reasons, we still need letters, or we still use letters. So here we have an example of informal letter. On the top of the page to the right side we have heading or sender address. Below that we have the date, and then to the left side we have salutation or greetings. Then we have body of letters, we may write anything. Below the body to the left side we have complimentary clause, and then we have signature and name of sender. So here we have an actual informal letter. You can see on the top right we have the sender's address. Below that we have the date. Then to the left side we have the salutation, dear Maya, and then we have body of letter. Below the body we have a complimentary clause, and below that we have the name of
next
sender.
We have parts of formal letter. That what are the major parts of formal letter? So first we have heading or sender's address, the person who is sending a letter. So normally we include house number, street number, city, province, country or state, etc. And if it is from a village, etc., so we may use like mohalla type of thing, or district and post office, village, etc. Then, and we begin with the smallest component like house, then street is the bigger one, city is then bigger, and country is the biggest one. And if we are writing from a department, so we begin with our designation, then our department, and then the institution, and finally the city, major city. But remember, we do not include our name in sender address. Next we have date. So date is written in two ways. One is American, one is British. In American, first month, then date, and then year, like March 25th, 2023. Or in British format, we used date, then month, then year, like 25th March 2023. Next part is inside address or receiver's address, the person who is going to receive our letter. So we normally address it to an organization. So we mention the title of the person, like the chairperson or the director or the principal, the vice chancellor, the manager, etc. Department, in which department the person is. So English department or any other department, you may mention the required department. Then institution or organization, name of that organization where the person is working. So like University of Peshawar, that is the major organization here. And finally the city, so like Peshawar, Islamabad, any other city. Next we have subject, the major theme, the main message of your letter. So when we are writing with hand, we capitalize the first letter of each word apart from the functional words. So like miserable cleanliness condition in the campus. So every word is capitalized apart from these functional words. And if you are typing them, then we underline this subject and we also write it in bold. So bold and underline along capitalization. Next, salutation or greetings. That is the greetings before the body of the letter. So we may say respected sir, or honorable sir, or worthy, etc., or respected madam, dear madam. And we may also mention the designation like respected director, respected chairperson, respected manager, etc., if we know the designation. And if we know the name of the person, so we may say dear miss and name of the person, or dear Mr. and name of the person, for female miss and for male Mr. Next we have body of the letter. So in body of the letter, we divide it into 3 or 4 or maybe 5 paragraphs. It depends on the message. We may write our message in 1 paragraph, in 2 paragraphs, 3, but normally they are 3. So in first paragraph, we introduce our topic, our message, the purpose of the letter. And the second paragraph, we provide details. And in the third paragraph, we ask or we request for some kind of action or for something that the organization or the person is going to do for us. And we also thank the person in that third paragraph. Next, we have complementary clause or closing remarks. So sincerely yours, yours sincerely, or yours faithfully, faithfully yours, or simple regards. So regards, sincerely yours, etc. So they are the closing remarks. Then if you are typing your letter, enter twice, leave 2 empty lines, and then type your name, designation, organization, and contact information. And when you print out your letter, sign above your name. So that is the way. And if you are writing, it is a handwritten message, then directly your name, designation, etc., and above that your signature. Next we have enclosure or attachment. Suppose we attach some other documents with our letter, so we may put a list here that these are the documents that are attached with the letter, and we mention them in the body of the letter that such document is attached here with for evidence or for example or for reference, etc. So here we provide the list of those documents that such documents are attached here with. And next, reference. If the organization asks for reference, so normally we give the reference of our supervisor, our employer, or our teacher, etc., the person who knows you. So keep it in mind that you inform the person who you are giving reference of. So we inform the person, we provide the name here, name of the person, designation of the person, department and organization, and contact information. Like for example, Professor Falam, then designation, professor, assistant professor, associate professor, English department, University of Peshawar, and then contact information, email address or mobile phone number. So these are the major parts of formal letter. Next we'll talk about the format, where to put them in a format. Next we have formats for formal letters. So we have two major formats. One is called full block format, while another is called semi block format. Full block is common in American English, while semi block is common in British English. Now where to put the parts of letter that we discussed? So in full block, every part begins from the left side. We put it to the left side. For example, we have sender address, so we write it here in the left. Then date, below that we leave one empty line and then date. Below the date we write our inside address or receiver address. So again that is to the left side. Then subject, it begins from the left side. Salutation, dear sir, respected sir, honorable director, etc. Again it is from left side. Then body of the letter, paragraphs. Below the body we have closing remarks like sincerely yours sincerely, and then we leave two empty lines. Then we write our name, designation, department, institution, contact information, and above that we sign it if we are typing it, and if it is handwritten, so directly sign your letter. And below the closing remarks and sender's information, if you have any attachment, so make a list of those attachments here, and if there is a reference, so also give the reference information here. That is what we call full block format. Every part of the letter begins from the left side of the page. Suppose this is the page, so everything is to the left side. In semi block we move certain parts of letter to the right of the center, like this is the center of the page, so heading or sender address goes to the right of the center. Then date, below the sender address we put the date, and inside address or receiver's address, it is to the left, we write it to the left side. Then the subject also begins from the left side. Then the salutation, greetings, etc., we write it in the left side. And then the body, paragraphs and closing remarks just below the heading, straight below the heading or date. So we write closing remarks, then signature and name, designation, department, institution, contact information, and if you have attachments or reference, etc., so we can put that list here as well. So that they are the two major or standard formats for formal writing: full block and semi block. Here are the actual examples for full block and semi block. So you can see full block on the top of the page, to the left side we have heading, then date, then below that we have inside address, then salutation, then body of the letter. Below the body we have complimentary clause, signatures of senders, and name and information of senders. And it is an example for semi block. You can see the heading goes to the right of the center, then date, and inside address is to the left, salutation, then body, and below the body, straight below the heading, we have complimentary clause, signature, and name of sender or the rest of the information like contact information or department designation, etc. So that is the example. Okay, next we have punctuation marks in formal letter. How to use punctuation marks in formal letter? So there are 4 places where we use punctuation marks, like heading, inside address, salutation, and since closing remarks. So we have 3 ways to use punctuation marks in formal letter. The first one is called closed punctuation. It is an outdated way of using punctuation marks, where we put a comma after each component of heading and inside address. So after each component we put a comma, like house number, comma, street number, comma, city, comma, and a full stop at the end. Finally, full stop. Similarly, in inside address, a comma, then department, comma, institution, comma, and full stop in the end, and a comma after greetings and closing remarks. So it is the greetings, we put a comma here, and sincerely yours is the closing remarks, so we put a comma here. So that is what we call closed punctuation, but it is an outdated way of using punctuation marks. Next we have mixed punctuation. In mixed punctuation, a full stop after last component of heading and inside address. We do not use these commas after each component, so we remove them and we only leave the full stop after the final component. Similarly, in inside address we remove the commas and only full stop after the last component. Similarly, a comma after greetings and closing remarks. So these commas, they remain there after greetings and closing remarks. So that is what we call mixed punctuation, and it is a common way of using punctuation marks in formal letter. The last one is open punctuation. In open punctuation, no punctuation mark is used in heading, inside address, greetings and closing remarks. So for example, if you remove even this full stop from heading and inside address and these commas from greetings and closing remarks, so that is what we call open punctuation. No punctuation marks in these 4 areas. But remember, in body you are supposed to use punctuation marks as per the grammatical rules, like commas and full stop, question marks, etc., but only in these 4 areas: heading, inside address, greetings and closing remarks. Here we have an example for full block format. You can see in the top of the page to the left side we have the sender's address, then it is followed by date, then we have inside address, the editor, Daily News, Peshawar, and then we have the salutation, respected editor, etc., and then the body is divided into 3 paragraphs. Then below the body you can see we have complimentary close of closing remarks, yours sincerely, and below closing remarks we have our signature and then name of sender. I hope that this lecture will help you a lot in understanding formal and informal letter, their differences, their major features, importance, and the parts of formal letter, the different formats of formal letter, and using punctuation marks in formal letter. Take care of yourselves and do share this channel with your friends and colleagues.